And I've often believed, and I think this has been proven correct over the years I've been doing this, that low-hanging fruit is the most delicious fruit. And I bring this up in the context of LeBron James, who has been outspoken about some things and other things not so much. He bites his tongue from time to time. But LeBron is facing growing calls for discipline by the NBA. People outside of the NBA saying the NBA needs to do something after LeBron posted a picture of a police officer who was present at the shooting this week in Ohio. There were some teenagers fighting. One of them had a knife. She was about to stab, it appeared, the other girl, and the police officer ended up shooting the teenager, and she ended up dying. And LeBron sent out a photo of the police officer just to get you caught up to speed, and the headline, "You're next," hashtag accountability. Clearly, LeBron, I think anyone with half an IQ point would tell you that's inciting some violence against this police officer in Ohio, who most people, rational people, would say that's what you want the police to do. If the police show up and someone's about to stab someone else and possibly kill them, you would think that would call for the officer to do exactly what the officer did. Clear-headed people understand this, that the officer did their job. Now, LeBron, some are saying he sent that out before he had seen the video. I don't know whether that's true or not. But I do know if you had a daughter and your daughter was about to be stabbed and a cop was there and didn't do something, then you would then be upset with the police. So, I mean, that's just the way it is. And so, anyway, despite that, LeBron James made the tweet, the threat, which drew immediate and widespread backlash, as you might imagine. He then deleted the tweet, tried to make it go away, but later attempted to justify it in a series of absurd statements he sent out later on social media. So let us discuss the question: where is this Looney Tunes LeBron James story going? Does this help or hurt his movie? Right? Does this help or hurt Space Jam? I think we can say it doesn't help. Now, my thoughts on this: you've got the Wizard of Oz, football, and Mrs. Robinson. And we will tie all of these things together into a nice, neat package with LeBron James monologue number 7,832. So, you know, and I know that behind closed doors, even though the NBA is a very progressive operation, there are many executives there that are just shaking their head and would tell you off the record, of course, not on the record, this is embarrassing. This is another bruise to basketball and the business of basketball. Now, they'll never say that publicly. Never will they say that publicly because they're afraid. Who are they afraid of? LeBron James. LeBron can do and say whatever he wants. This guy is untouchable. And as they've said in every wise guy movie that I've ever watched, he's a made man, right? He runs the show in the NBA. Adam Silver, the bald commissioner of pro basketball, is like a character out of The Wizard of Oz. He's the cowardly lion, right? Don't even anticipate a slap on the wrist here. No punishment. The NBA's argument will be, well, you can't really fine LeBron because of the collective bargaining agreement enough to make a dent. The guy's super wealthy, so what's the point? Can't suspend him. Why would we do that, right? There won't even be a public rebuke, right? The NBA will genuflect to LeBron. And Adam Silver, in fact, here's the punishment. Adam Silver could draw a bubble bath, but only with lukewarm water. Now, LeBron normally, from what I understand, likes warm water, but lukewarm, just room temperature water there. That's punishment in the bubble bath. But really, you anticipate zero punishment in any way. And prove me wrong. I hope I'm wrong. You would think that this would rise to the level when you're doxing a police officer who did their job properly and you're inciting violence towards said officer. You would think that that's against the company policy of the NBA. It's likely it is, but the rules are made to be broken. And there's certainly different rules depending on where you are on the totem pole, if you will, where LeBron finds himself pretty high up there at the very top. But how awkward must it be? You think about LeBron, who is surrounded by cops and ex-cops, right? If you've ever seen LeBron in public, we do the show from L.A., but he's lived all over the place. LeBron is always surrounded by a very serious security detail. And from what I've been told, those are a lot of ex-cops that become security guards that are always armed. And here's LeBron, who's an anti-cop all the way through. Every NBA game ever played has a bunch of police protecting the people at the games. It must make LeBron very uncomfortable to see that. Can be very upset by that. Now, part B of this, the entire episode here that we're talking about, the tweet that was deleted by LeBron and then some weird statements trying to make it seem like he was on the right, which he wasn't, is a teachable moment, right? And except the lesson is going to fall on deaf ears. For years, people have been saying, hey, LeBron, stick to basketball, right? It's gone in one ear and out the other. Most recently, back in February, there was a big kerfluffle, if you remember back in February. And looking back on that a couple months ago, consider what happened in the last 24 hours, a gigantic win for the beautiful game of football. International soccer sensation Zlatan told LeBron it's a mistake when athletes step up out of their lane and get involved socially and politically. In fact, he advised LeBron, he said, do what you're good at. Stay out of politics. And LeBron and his online goons, I think many of them are bots, dismissed Zlatan. Now, in hindsight, it's comical considering what has happened this week. LeBron responded to Zlatan, in case you forgot, by because Zlatan criticized his activism, he responded by saying, I'm kind of the wrong guy to actually go at because I do my homework. Of course, apparently on this tweet, LeBron failed to actually read the regulations and turn in the assignment. The self-titled King James continues juggling social media and political gasoline, and he's got a flamethrower there, and a lot of division out of LeBron. Many people pointing that out these days, but up until this point, he has gotten away with tap dancing on the red line. Because, listen, the NBA media, they're like Pavlov's dogs, the NBA media. They love their stars, and they don't want to bury any of these guys, right? They don't want to condemn any of them. But while this feels like a turning point, I'll believe it when it happens, right? Some people are saying, well, this is the day of reckoning. I'm not so sure, right? It's not from the NBA. I know the NBA is not going to do anything. Now, whether other outside entities do anything. No, I mean, LeBron can do whatever he wants. He's a member of the hierarchy of the Democratic Party, and they will support him no matter what. So he's a political figure as an athlete, and so it's, people just dismiss any criticism of LeBron. They say, well, it's just Republicans attacking a Democratic political insider. And that deleted tweet, the one where he was doxing the police officer, is going to be a phantom. This is what people are saying, right? It's going to be a phantom that will haunt LeBron James going forward. But he's already been proven a hypocrite many times, and it doesn't seem to affect him. So he called him a made man. He's the Teflon Don, right? He has used radio silence, for example, when talking about his business partners in communist China who are putting Muslims in concentration camps, and LeBron, who has big business dealings there, has nothing to say about that. On that topic, he shuts up and dribbles. But when it comes to other things here, boy, he's all over the place. Now, the last word, right? The thing that I'm trying to figure out here, why would LeBron delete the post in the first place? Right? I mean, it's kind of a rhetorical question, but it doesn't seem like a very smart thing to do. I mean, he brags about how intelligent he is. You would think LeBron knows the internet is forever. The moment you click send, it's turn out the lights, the party's over. Whatever you send out is out in the ethos. You can't get it back, right? The screenshot, you don't know who's going to take a screenshot and save it for posterity's sake. And with LeBron, he's got millions of bots and real followers, and people take photos and archive everything that he does. You can't unpeel the orange. Cannot do it. Damage is done. And when you think about where LeBron is right now, this is the ultimate double-edged sword. As gifted as a player as he is, and one of the all-time greats in the sport of basketball, a Hercules on the court, while at the same time destroying a large chunk of the business of basketball. Now, the sport made a decision. They made a decision over the last couple of years that they will no longer bring people together. They will now divide us. And that's a calculated move by the NBA. LeBron James has really been shepherding in this new movement by the NBA as the face of the NBA. And the popularity has plummeted in recent years. They've gone back a little bit recently, but part of that is the NBA trying to get away from some of the slogans, right? They walked back from the symbols on the jerseys and the court. They took those away, and they've gotten some of their audience back. But I say it's time for a Simon and Garfunkel remake to update the classic Mrs. Robinson, and we'll leave Joe DiMaggio behind. But where have you gone, Michael Jordan? A nation of sports fans turns its lonely eyes to you. Woo, woo, woo. It was Michael Jordan who famously said, right? And we talked about this last year. It came up again back in the early 90s. Jordan Star, face of the NBA, biggest thing out there. And he quipped that Republicans buy sneakers too and didn't want to get involved in politics. And that had been the way it was. I mean, you go through the list, and some of the all-time icons, they stayed away from that and did not give that information out. LeBron, so here's the issue, though. LeBron is so far into the forest at this point, there's no going back. He's already crossed the Rubicon, so it's not like if he shuts up all of a sudden, then people will rip him for that. So now he's like all the way in, and he's just going to keep going. Upward and onward.